Hey everyone, if you love Kyokushin Karate and martial arts, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drew Spirian Show. I am the voice of Kyokushin in your ears. We are going to cover Kyokushin. We're on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. We're growing fast. The community is growing, and I want to help everyone grow. We go far together. All right, today's guest. Wow. Okay, I am so amped. Oh man, this has been a long time coming. It's been such a long time coming. This is royalty in not only Kyokushin, but he's done MMA as well. This man is what it represents the star-spangled banner of a USA Kyokushin. Standing at 5'10", weighing between 155 and 175. He is representing Los Angeles. Shohei Yamamoto, welcome to the Drew Experience. Long time coming.
All right, thank you for having me, Drew. Well, that was a great impression of like a fight announcement. It brought me back to right when I was about to step into the cage and have that introduction before the fight. So you're getting me amped up. Thank you for having me on.
Dude, oh man, this has been a long time coming. I want to thank a few people for helping this happen. First, obviously, we spoke to him off the record before we recorded Senpai Mohammed Chick, and also my Shian Pierre Cataford, who knows you very well. You guys all have like kind of a relation. We'll get to that. But obviously, first I got to start with how's your day going? I mean, I know you've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for it. So how was the day going so far?
I was doing all right. I've been looking forward to this podcast. We've been keeping in touch for like the last maybe a very long time, maybe a couple of years by now. But one thing led to another, and just took a long time for us to get to where we are right now. So, I'm very excited for this one. I've been looking forward to it for quite a while now.
You
Yeah.
and me both, and many others when they find out that you were on the show. So obviously, your martial arts has been your life. You're not only training, but you've also coached now. But where did it all start, Shohei? Because what led you to Kyokushin versus any other style? How did it all start for you?
Well, when I was a kid, maybe around 6 years old, I initially joined a karate dojo
Mm-hmm.
at a local middle school. But since I was doing that for a little while, my dad, personally, wanted me to take it a little bit up a notch, right? So he saw Shihan Taku of Kyokushin Karate of Los Angeles on a magazine, Japanese magazine.
Whoa.
He's all like, "Hey, if we're gonna do karate, let's do the real thing over here, and let's go all over there. Drive for an hour and a half from Oceanside, California, which is San Diego County, to
Mm-hmm.
Dojo, which was located in downtown Los Angeles during that time. But the distance was over about 70 miles, maybe 80 miles. So it took about an hour and a half just to get there from our place to the dojo. But my father was the one that first committed himself
Mm-hmm.
and drove me an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the dojo when I was around 7 years old during that time. So ever since then, I've been, part of Kyokushin. I started when I was 7
Mm-hmm.
with Shihan Taku, Kyokushin Karate in downtown Los Angeles. But now we have about 4 locations
Mm-hmm.
over under Shantaku right now. So,
So
yeah.
it started with that first location. He's branched out. And are you one of the instructors that like help him with it, or do you kind of do? Are you kind of like in and out? Like, what's your role with the current state of Kyokushin Los Angeles?
I'm not currently teaching Kyokushin per se, but
Mm-hmm.
I do like cover classes once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as Kyokushin Los Angeles, I would say not only myself, but my father was a really big figure in bringing everybody together and kind of expanding Kyokushin, which was kind of unknown during that time, right? It was about 1996 per se.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 34 years old right now, but I was around 7 during that time. And my dad was always kind of bringing everybody together,
Mm-hmm.
not only the local level where the parents would kind of talk to my dad and get them amped up to go like compete or give him videos after classes from the from Japan and everything, like technical videos, just to bring everybody more closer together and get involved in Kyokushin. About a year into after I joined Shion Taku's place,
Mm-hmm.
um, we saw a video, a DVD of, the All Japan tournament that's held once a year in Tokyo, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Being a little crazy, my dad's a little crazy at some point, right? He's all like, "Why don't we go and compete in that one?" So a year into it, when I'm about 8 years old, I was the only kid from USA during that time to go to Japan and compete in the All Japan Junior tournament that they have once a year. I ended up being fourth place during that time, right? And to be honest with you, that's kind of happened by luck, I would say, anyway, because I was only 1 year, and
Mm-hmm.
those kids over in Japan during that time, right? They took it very seriously, very high level competitors. It's not like they only train once or twice a week. They probably train like every single day, as like 8 year olds, right? So they took it was a very good experience for me. Amazing. Very level competitors, something that you don't see over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
See 1,000 kids in one big venue, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into, right? But I ended up winning about 4 or 5 matches, getting fourth place.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would be like, "Hey, we got fourth place. The very first time we do it. Why don't we even, train even more? And next year we'll keep on trying to get for first place next year." But eventually, like, it was very tough. So the next year I lost about in the third round or so. It took me about 10 years or so to win the World
Wow.
Junior Championship when I was 16 years old. Almost 10
Wow.
years old. I was 8. I couldn't win challenge every single year, just about every single year. Couldn't win. Maybe second or third round, I would get eliminated from the competition.
Mm-hmm.
16 years old, I won the World Junior Championship over in
Mm-hmm.
Japan. That
Awesome.
was back in 2016, I
Whoa.
believe. Yeah, 2016, right?
Amazing. So, I want to take it back to what you said, because you said 1996. So you and I are maybe about a year apart. I'm born in 1991, late 91. Mo's born in 92.
Right.
And you're probably born in what, 1990? So
89.
89.
89.
Okay. But
Yeah.
1996, tell me, like, that was such like an pop culture wise, what was that like for you? Because, in the USA, you guys had all the cartoons. I have to ask this because, got to humanize the karatekas. What was it like for like TV shows and anime? Because Mo said like you're into kind of some anime too. I was too. I grew up on Dragon Ball, the original one, Sailor Moon.
Right.
And you guys had like Tekkaman Blade. You guys had stuff before we did in Canada. What was it? And you had the Chicago Bulls winning basketball. So I don't know if you followed that. What was it like for you from what you remember? And when you went to Japan, did you see like anime, that stuff that we didn't have yet in the West?
So back in 1996, I mean, I was about 8 years old. I did watch anime, like
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z, and maybe some a little younger shows, maybe like Doraemon or
Hmm.
something like that. But back then, the anime scene wasn't as nearly as popular, I would say, as currently
Today.
is right now. But my karate instructor, Shantaku Nagasaka of Kyokushin Karate Los Angeles, he would show me some Kyokushin anime
Hmm.
from Baka Ichidai, right? And
Wow.
they have like a very series of Kyokushin anime that many of the competitors and shiras and senseis would watch,
Hmm.
and they got inspired by watching the anime. So I saw parts of it, and that kind of got me hooked into a little bit of Kyokushin. So you see like a little bit of in anime form, Masoyama breaking the horn of the bull and things like that. So that was a very good introduction for me per se. Right.
Nice.
Yep.
Uh,
And
that.
I do still have one of the original books of Masoyama. I think it was one of the very first books Shantaku actually presented me
Oh.
was What is Karate? So, what is Karate? So, that's not an anime per se, but that's a very old book that
Mhm.
Masoyama was published back in the day. And I still have it to this day.
Amazing. That's awesome. Now, obviously not just Kyokushin, but the shirt you're wearing is your Shian, and I have to ask about that, like, because he was in Okinawa, if I'm not mistaken, you were telling me, but he always goes back and forth, and he's a very important figure for you. Tell me about his role in your karate journey. In
So,
your
as
karate journey. Yeah.
right, right, for sure. So I also like not only in Kyokushin, I competed in Kyokushin till My last tournament was the world weight category in 2013. I ended
Mhm,
up placing fourth place, representing USA. Then, after that, I wanted to challenge myself into MMA, right?
mhm,
Especially in the US, the MMA scene is got very big. Maybe when I was, starting to be in high school, I saw the UFC when I was doing Kyokushin. I saw the UFC and all that, and I was like, wow, that's great. I want to try to challenge myself into whatever that is. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was still like 17 or 18 during that time.
mhm,
But regardless of MMA, or I also grew up watching kickboxing, my style of karate that I perceived, which is like the greatest style, is being able to adapt the karate into no matter what kind of martial arts opponent is doing. So even if there's face punching or grabbing, submission hold, I want to still be able to apply what my karate into whatever the rule sets are.
mhm,
So in that idea, I thought maybe challenging my karate, my style into MMA
mhm.
was the ultimate thing that I felt like I needed to do to challenge myself.
So are we saying it sounds like this? 'Cause, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast, and it sounds like your journey. I see a bit of a correlation with a mix of Machida, how he transitioned karate, and also Wonder Boy Thompson. So is that this? Did you kind of take from those two as examples because you saw them when you were in high school and whatnot, and say, "Oh, I could take this and put it into MMA."
Well, the thing is, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, phenomenal karateka, different kind of karate, but
Mhm.
I respect um, the athlete and competitor that he is. And also, Sensei Machida, I actually had the opportunity to stop by his dojo many years ago,
Wow.
uh, maybe about 6 years ago,
Mhm.
with some of my senseis. Phenomenal martial artist, I respect him and all that. But when I was growing up, I didn't necessarily grew up watching them, right? So
Yeah.
what I grew up watching was more for like K1 back
Mm.
John Francisco Filio, legendary Andy Hug, Sensei Glaube Feitosa, Nicholas Pettis. So those were my idols growing up watching. Then shortly afterwards, I saw MMA and how popular it got over here. So speaking of this shirt,
Yeah.
as you see, this is the karate from Kyokushin right here, the karate
Mhm.
logo that you see. This is actually the same karate logo that Shion Taku puts on his dojo banner. But if you see here, I don't know how close you can see this one.
Yep.
This is the IKO1 mark right here, but it
Yep.
also says Okikai.
Yes.
So this is maybe a style that one of my MMA instructor or karate instructor, Soshi Iwasaki, started. He was originally started off with Kyokushin with same dojo as Shion Kenji Yamaki,
Mhm.
also Kazumi Hajime.
Mhm.
So he was in kind of like the same dojo, but he also wanted to compete and challenge himself more towards MMA.
Mm.
So he learned a different form of karate from a different instructors, unrelated to Kyokushin. Then he trained there for a little bit and brought what he learned over there kind of back to over here in a way. So obviously, when you step out of IKO1 during that time, and you try to come back in, you're kind of exiled shortly. But he was doing his own thing. And when I was competing in MMA back in, this was about 2015, I was training at MMA under Legendary Pride and UFC uh, fighter and champion Josh Barnett
The
during that
War
time.
Master.
Yes, the War Master. I was training under him in
Mhm.
MMA for about a couple years, and he took me over to Japan to go compete in Pancras, right?
Mm.
Pancras. During that time, we also had I was warming up in AACC gym over in Tokyo, and that's when I met Soshi Iwasaki. And I saw over there when I was like, cutting weight, doing MMA, shadow, and everything like that, mid work. I saw Soshi Iwasaki doing a different form of karate, very similar in a way, but doing like moving basics. But I could tell it's slightly a little bit different from the standard Kyokushin way that I was growing up watching,
Mhm.
right? But anyways, that's how we got connected in a way. So Josh sent me to Japan to compete in papers with him, and also that's when I met Soshi Wasaki at like kind of like a mutual gym or friends gym right there. And ever since then, he saw what I was doing, bringing my karate to MMA, and he said that he could actually help me and kind of help me mold into more of the MMA, mold into mold my striking into the MMA rule set, which is
Mm.
pretty tough, especially just going straight from Kyokushin to MMA because there's so many other things that you have to worry about. Maybe face punching. First off, this is different from Kyokushin fighting versus MMA fighting. You also have to worry about grappling and things like that. So I've been training under Josh Barnett, but also under Soshi Iwasaki as well.
Mhm.
Soshi Iwasaki more for maybe applying the karate towards MMA, and maybe the War Master Josh Barnett for the overall MMA itself. Learn a
Yeah.
little bit of catch wrestling, a lot of cage work, and many different things from Josh as well. But the karate, and the striking aspect, mostly from Soshi Iwasaki. He started this group called Goki Kai.
Mhm.
Goki it's not really an organization that he started, but more like where fighters get together and use the principles of karate, the original karate, not like sport karate or anything, more of the older style karate into MMA.
Nice. So
Right.
there's two. Yeah, so there's 2 points I have. First, first it's it's I'm gonna word it as a question and a comment. First, how is Josh doing? And if you're still in touch with him, because he's also known as the baby faced assassin too when he was there. And the comment I have is, um, you're that Shion of that style is Shion Iwasaki. Did I say it right?
Soshi Iwasaki. Soshi is like a title, right?
Shoshi, right?
Soshi Iwasaki is his name.
Okay, so Shoshi Iwasaki, it turns out, fought Jean Riviere back in the day,
Right.
and that was Xian Pierre's student in 1991. And there's a photo of of that tournament, and then apparently Jean Riviere and Shoshi, I'm sorry if I mispronounced
Soshi
it,
Iwasaki. Iwasaki.
Shoshi
Yeah.
Iwasaki and Jean Riviere had a beer together in Japan. How small is this world? Like, it's funny how life comes full
Right.
circle.
Yeah, especially in the martial arts world, it's not that big. So if you're really into it, it's a small circle and everything. But I do recall that fight in Kyokushin. I do recall that fight growing up and watching it and everything. That was a crazy knockout and everything. Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, this Gokikai karate,
Mhm.
Soshi Osaki, man, when I was like competing in MMA, he would come fly over to Japan and to LA to come and teach me and kind of visit and also teach me a little bit of striking that I could apply towards that play. And even to this day, we keep in touch. I'm actually going to Japan in a couple weeks,
Oh,
and I'm
amazing.
to visit my family, but also the last 2 days, probably stop by and see Soshi Osaki. Maybe go train with some of his fighters that's competing in Rising over there. So he's
Nice. Oh yeah, Ryzen is still around. That's true.
Yep, yeah. He has maybe 4 or 5 fighters that
Mhm,
competed in the New Year's event for Rising.
mhm,
And so he has a group of like maybe kickboxing background people trying to challenge into MMA.
mhm,
And the training that they do over there, of course, they work on the standard MMA sparring and things like that, but they also incorporate the Goki Kai style karate
mhm.
into their MMA daily training to compete for MMA. Yep.
Amazing. That's awesome. And speaking of, because you said you grew up, there's a picture you sent me of little you with all the legends: Pettis, Feitosa, Fijo, of heavyweight for and not heavyweight, former heavyweight and Hall of Famer Maurice Smith. What do you feel like being around those legends? Like, did they shape anything about shape you in your karate journey? Did they talk to you about what it's like to be a competitor? Or were you like, what was it like just being around them as that young?
Well, to be honest with you, I saw them when I was around 9 or 10
Mhm.
years old. To me, I was like starstruck in a way
Yeah.
when I first saw them. I was like, wow, I see them on TV and to me, like they were like idols growing up, right? Especially when I was doing Kyokushin, I saw them competing at the very high level and also being very successful in K1 kickboxing during that time. But when they came to LA, I remember I was getting tickled all day by Morris Smith and also by Sean Francisco Filio. So, so in a way, that was a very good experience. Kind of broke the ice a bit. But as far as like um, being an impact for me for Kyokushin was a lot of it was also Sensei Nicholas Pettis. Sensei
Wow.
Nicholas Pettis, or Shihan Nicholas Pettis was
Yeah.
very close to my father. So he actually came over from Japan to kind of visit California and come to our place for a little bit before he was married. And this was about 20 years ago or something like that. So he came over here with his girlfriend or his wife before they were getting married. Went to SeaWorld for about 5 days, stayed at our place, and yeah, I remember that was a very good experience as well. And because of that, when I went to Japan, I actually had the opportunity to participate in his adult class as a kid, right?
Hmm.
Usually that's not allowed in the original Hombu, right? For a junior to go compete or to participate in the adult class. But
Hmm.
because of the connection we had as like a 9-year old, I was able to train in the regional home group in the adult class, which is very unheard of during that time.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So now we take it to you're in high school, you're 16 to 17, and this is when you kind of meet a young Mohammed chick. So this is how I'm gonna segue into this. Tell me about, because Mo said you not only fought at the World Championship in 2013 and representing USA, but you did it in 2009 as well. So there's a few tournaments you have to cover, but I cannot forget those two. So do tell me about, what was it like to be selected, and then just what was it like representing USA, and then going to Montreal, and then also, yeah, just the world tournament. Well, that's another tournament, but as I know, there's so much you've done, so I have to ask about those two, because Mo's like,
Right.
don't forget.
Okay. You're asking about the 2009 world weight category,
Yes,
correct?
world weight, and then yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. There's so many tournaments that I competed in, so I have to get this one straight. Okay, but 2009, that was I believe the third world weight category.
Hmm.
First, before being selected as representative of the USA, you have to go compete in more regional tournaments such
Yeah.
as US weight category, or during that time was Montreal was one of the tournaments where you would have to be a top placement for you to be selected to represent USA for
Hmm.
the world tournament over in Tokyo. So the tournament I competed was also US weight, but also Montreal during that time in 2009, right? So me and also my teammate during that time, a good friend of mine, Naito Tyson, also
Hmm.
competed uh, in the same tournament in Montreal in the same weight category as myself. Um, but during that time, for visa reasons, he couldn't represent USA because he was born in Japan and
Okay.
coming just to train and also to study English. But I met him in the finals, and the very first round, right? Ended up being an extension, which I thought during that time like it was a clear cut decision. I thought I was gonna win, but maybe it was a good fight and everybody was very excited to see more of it. So they ended up doing an extension. Went to two extension. Then after that, they ended up doing changing the rules a little bit and get one more ultimate death match extension.
Wow.
Yes. So, anyways, I guess it was a good match because we had a standing ovation through the whole crowd and everything. Me and Naito Tyson at the final. So everybody wanted to see a little bit more. They're standing, clapping. So we went to ultimate extension, three extensions. Usually there's only two. Um, when one extra one, ended up landing a spinning back kick in the last 10 seconds of the match, and he got a wazari or half a point from me. So I ended up being second in that one. But it was just enough for me to go compete in the world weight category as a
Hmm.
USA representative because Tyson couldn't compete as a USA representative during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
fast forward a few months later, I represent US and go compete in the world weight category. I was still 19 years old during that time. Uh, I ended up going to the third round, I believe. Right. I thought maybe the first two rounds I won, then the third round end up losing to Sensei Kidachi during that time. He's one of the top competitors in Japan during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I even saw him like growing up when I was in high school. I saw him winning the All Japan World Weight category during that time. But uh, his fight style was more so very in close versus my fight style is
Mm-hmm.
more moving around in the middle distance and where I could apply my kicks and my strikes and my punches a little bit more effectively. But he kind of just shut me down with his in close fighting style and everything. So that was a good experience. I ended up getting third in the world weight category during that time in 2009. Right.
Amazing. Amazing. And and then when did you meet a young Mohammed chick and then newly Xian Pierre Cataford? Well, 2 years after getting his Godan, because he got it in 2007. This is in
Oh,
2009. So tell me about how you met Mo and then
right.
Xian Pierre Catafal. I always say his last name wrong. I like trying to pronounce it in
Here.
French. Like
Yes.
I don't know. It's like I'm sorry, Xian, but I just like the way the name rings off the tongue. It's a nice name.
So, I mean, Shea Pierre, I always see him at the tournaments, US weight category, and also the global competition over in Kyokushin. But as far as it goes, like North America was considered also Canada and
Mhm.
USA kind of almost put together, right? In a way when we're representing. But I always see Xian Pierre since I was like growing up in every single tournament I go to, and always smiling and greeting everybody. So I always had a very good impression of him, as I was growing up. And Mo, um, he was one of the top fighters over in Canada, and during that time, like there were some good fighters in Canada, but what really stood out to me was starting from the junior category and then going up to the adults was Mo. And I saw like a very similar thing that we had in common was we were competing in the junior category and then going up to adult category. That's a little bit of a different generation compared to the previous fighters, where there were not that many fighters that started from the junior category at the top level and then go compete in the adult. So I saw like a little bit of similarity with me and Mo during that time, and we just became close because we see each other all the time, and he's always smiling and say hi and everything. So we hang out quite a few times over in Japan,
I've heard
after
stories.
also in the U.S. as well. So
I have a good story. I'm not gonna say too much because what happens in Japan stays in Japan. But all he said is there was one time that you and him ended up at a restaurant with Xian, now Xian Fiho, and Xian Fiho
uh,
was like, "Guys, like, hey, it's like everything's on me. Come on!" And
yeah, we had a good time in Tokyo, right?
yeah.
See, Sean Philo there was completely like a surprise, right? We didn't really think too much about it, but just happened to be there. So we had some good stories together. But
There was
yeah,
also, I have to say, also a shout out from our coach who helped to recently coach Mo to second place, Sensei Sebastian Cans. He wanted me to tell you he says hi. Seb's like, oh, he's like, Shohei. He's like, tell him I said hi. I remember him. So I don't know if you remember Sebastian. He was one of Canada's
right,
great fighters then too on the come up. And it's funny because him and Mo kind of they've battled, but then they came together. It was a
right.
really like a last dance where they just came together, and it's like we just everything worked out. So yeah, if you remember anything about Sebastian too, please do share because as I said,
One thing I love about competing in Canada was when I went to go compete in Canada, man, some of even the spectators and the other competitors, some of the most friendliest people ever. We became really close to some of the competitors over there. So when I went to go compete in the world weight category in 2009, a few months, after the Montreal tournament, for some reason I hear my name when I was like competing on the mat. I was like, Shohei, Shohei. I was like, look over, it's the Canada team. So that was a pleasant surprise. I was like, I really loved my time over in Canada. The short time I was there,
yeah.
um, amazing event. nice people, and also I love the food out there too. Right?
Yeah.
South food out there. Yep.
We got some good food, man. And obviously then comes 2013. So I know you fought in Japan in 2013, but then there's also the LA 2013 that you fought with Mo. Not you guys were in the same category, but you guys
Right,
both
right.
dominated. So by the way, before you go into the story, Jean Pierre said, please mention that when Shohei fought the Romanian, that yeah, he hit him in the face, but we understood as a referee, I understood the behavior of Team Romania, and they had to be put in their place. And Shohei had to say to them, like, was telling them, you want to go down this route? I can go down this route too. And yeah, so it's crazy, but hey, yeah, tell me. So now,
So,
please tell the story.
well, first off, I want to say this. Not, I wouldn't say I feel this way to all the Romanian fighters. Very good Romanian fighters. It just happened to be that one particular individual that maybe he was known to not play within the rule sets, I would say. So I had one of my close teammates, Sota.
Mhm.
Um, so he also been competing in the junior category and also adult as I was,
Mhm.
being very close to them, always seeing the tournaments. But anyways, he fought the Romanian guy in a different tournament, and I felt like my teammate Sota would have won if if it wasn't for the face punching playing against the rule by that particular individual.
Mhm.
So I knew like he was doing that on purpose, right? I had
Mhm.
a feeling of that. So when we met in the final, we're competing. I am not proud to say this, by the way. This was when I was much younger. I was 23 during that time. So as an adult, I feel like as a human being, I've grown a little bit.
Yep.
I probably wouldn't react the same way I did back then
Mhm.
if it happened right now. But he punched me in the face a couple times, and I felt like he was. Usually, when you punch somebody in the face, in Kyokushin, it's against the rules because we
Mhm.
decided to fight within the rule set and respect the rule set in Kyokushin. Um, but when he did it, I felt like he was doing it in a way to get the upper hand in the match, right? So I sensed that in a way. He first hit me a couple times and ended up keep on pushing forward, right? So at that time, I was like, oh, okay, well, if you're gonna play that way, then I'm gonna do it my way too. So I gave him one back during that time, and I guess we went back and forth, and eventually he stepped out of the mat, and the whole fight itself got canceled. Not only did it get canceled, um, there were some riots. My dad ended up fighting with the Shihans over there
No way.
in the very back. So maybe Shihan Taku and Shihan Goy kind of stepped in and broke it apart. But it was a riot on the mats and also off the mats as well. So that's a, that was a very big event. Not that I'm gonna say I'm proud of it. At the same time, I don't really apologize for what I did. It is what it is. And I can't take it back now, right?
Well, no, but like at the end of the day, like that's just what Shian Pearson. I'm quoting him. He's like, Shohei is like a cat, very calm, very cool. But when you get him angry, that's when that lion is gonna come out of the
Oh,
cage.
right. So my old MMA instructor, Josh Barnett, but I also was taught MMA under Coach Eric Paulson,
Mhm.
one of the legendary MMA, instructors, Shido champion back in the day. He gave me the nickname actually. Hey, Shoei, you're so calm, but when you fight, you're like a tiger. So we're gonna call you H Tora. Tora is tiger in Japanese, so like a
Okay.
cage tiger. I'm like, okay, okay, whatever, coach. Ended up being my nickname throughout my, when I was fighting in MMA and things like that. Cage Tora, but yeah, I get that quite a lot.
And I heard like too when you get on the mat, like I mean, I heard it's great, you're very like smile, happy like right now, but apparently when you get on the mat, like you do this like primal yell, and it was like, and it was
Yeah.
like it's like "Ah!" Like it's like you're going, it's like Jin Kazama in Tekken when he's about to fight
Ah,
Kazuya in Tekken 4, Heihachi in Tekken
right.
4, and I was like, damn. I mean, I was hoping I could get one of those today, but no, we're not in that scenario. It's got to be a tournament, but man, Shoei, like,
Right.
dude,
I
everyone
was
speaks.
younger. Yeah,
Hmm?
that's the way I kind of put on the switch, right? So I'm so calm and kind of reserved most of the time, but when it became like competing and fighting, that was something that was part of my lifestyle and I took very seriously, right? It wasn't just compete to compete, but it was part of my life. So very important to me. So I had to find a way for me to kind of fine tune things and put on the fight or flight mode. So that's one way where I could really compete at the highest level and compete at my natural ability by turning on that switch. Right. And my coach Josh Barnett, he said in one of the podcasts where, some fighters feel nervous, right, before the fight. Some people feel anxious. Some people don't feel anything at all. But whatever you do is for you to be able to compete at the highest level that you could compete at, whether that be turning on the switch or being anxious or nervous, but whatever it requires you to be in that state to be able to compete at the highest level, you should do that. So that was my way of turning on the switch.
Amazing, man.
Right, kind of come up with this primal sound that I can't really come up
Don't
with.
do it. You don't have to do it. We're not in that setting. Like, but
Right,
honestly,
right. I'm not
dude,
gonna do it. You're right. I'm over that and
yeah.
everything. So.
But I'm gonna tell you this: if I ever do come back to competing, I'm gonna just call you. I'm gonna DM you and be like, "Yo, just do the sound for me so I could copy it, so I could like scare my opponent." It's
Well,
like I'm just kidding, Shohei. I wouldn't do that. But no, it's honestly, it's really amazing. So LA 2013, you won. And then Mo won because Mo beat Stoyan, and there's the
right.
video on the internet, and you just see and Stoyan was he's a very good fighter. I mean, I respect anyone that steps in the mat with Mo, but I also respect Stoyan for what he's accomplished in Kyokushin and also for Romania. There's you hear Pierre's voice, aggressive Mohamed, pression, which pressure. So did you watch that fight too when you were in that tournament, or were you in your room? What was it? What do you remember too about seeing
No,
Mo?
I definitely watched that as well. I actually competed with Sensei Stoyan in 2009 world weight category.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that tournament was a few years afterwards when Mo and Sensei Stoyan fought. So and also was friends with Mo, right? So I was like, man, I gotta go see that final over there. But they had a terrific match. I remember Mo got the better of that match and ended up winning. But yeah, that was something that I actually stepped out and went to go watch. Right? Of course, I couldn't miss it.
No, no one can. I mean, it was the same way for me too when he fought in Japan. I mean, I mean, it was like watching. It was intense because it's you want him to win, but he's also my friend, and I
Right.
mean, I mean, I don't share this with people, but I guess you're the first one. Now it's out in the open. But I mean, when he made the final, I was crying in the bathroom. You don't understand what it's like when you see someone that came back after that layoff, and and it was crazy because one of the people from the Dutch team were like, "Hey man, why are you crying?" And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "You're his friend." I go, "Yeah," and he's like, "Okay." He goes, "I understand." And it was crazy because he fought the Polish guy he fought, and I mean, shout out to Simeon Olipinski. That was the guy he fought. Very sneaky, and I'm saying that respectfully, kicker. And Mo had an injured foot, and he was just putting it, it was all he was playing. He was going in like Kamaru Usman, just mind over matter. And and this guy would just not stop coming. He was fresh. He would just keep coming like a zombie, and Mo had to put it in overdrive. So man, those tournaments, it's always sweeter. Then I equate it to this similar to a Stoyan when to put Mo into that final in that year. So that's how I look at that in a sense.
Yeah, sometimes when you're coaching or be in the corner of somebody that you really care for, as like a brother or as a teammate, sometimes that could be a little bit more nervous than you going competing as well, right? When
Mm.
it's yourself, it's like it's whatever. But when it's also your friend, and you see them competing, it's a different feeling for sure.
It really is. So then in 2013, you also go to the World. So you also made it to Japan. What was that like for you in 2013, that experience?
The fourth world weight category.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I competed in the prior one 4 years
Mhm,
before that, in 2009. So
mhm,
this was going to be my second time competing, 4 years later. During that time, I was already training in MMA and
mhm,
also judo. So I trained under multiple instructors during that time.
mhm,
So in my mind, I knew that this was probably going to be my very last Kyokushin
mhm,
competition that I was going to be before I fully commit into MMA.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those things where I feel like you could compete in Kyokushin, do MMA, and going back and forth. The rule sets are so different. The way you train will be very different as well. So to
Mm-hmm.
go back and forth and still be able to compete at the highest level in both categories would be a little bit difficult. So in a way, I knew that 2013 was
Mm-hmm.
going to be my very last competition for
Mm-hmm.
Kyokushin. I ended up getting, fourth place
Okay.
during that time, which I was not too happy about it, to be honest with you. Not only because of the fourth place itself, but because for it being my very last competition in Kyokushin, I felt like I wasn't able to kind of compete at what I would perceive as, being 100% of my capability. So I felt like I was coming off through some injuries, and also cross training a little bit kind of threw me off when I was going back into the Kyokushin rule set. So as far as like the way I competed, I was not too happy about it afterwards. But at the same time, I am proud of all the accomplishments that I've done in Kyokushin, and that was like kind of like the cutoff for me. I was like, I'm gonna go compete in this, give it 100%. Then afterwards, I'm gonna fully commit to MMA. Hmm.
Okay.
And
Amazing.
shortly afterwards, when I was like competing in the fourth world weight
Mm-hmm.
category, my father during that time was not feeling too well.
Oh.
Yeah, so usually he would come all the way to Japan with me, and be in the corner and start yelling from the corner and everything and cheering me on. But he kind of didn't have that energy during that time. He had a lot of health complications, heart problems, diabetes, and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. He passed maybe about 6 months or so right after the fourth world weight
Oh,
category.
dude, I'm
So
sorry to hear that, man. My condolences. I mean, it's
thank you. I mean, it was over 10 years ago now.
yeah,
So,
it's gonna be
but
10. Yeah.
yeah, it's about 10 years ago. So it's also like it's a little bit different for me to compete in karate when my father's not around as well, considering that he was such a big part of Kyokushin, not to myself but also the whole community over in LA. Um, One of the reasons why I feel like Kyokushin really grew in Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
is the way my father and also Shantaku as well was able to kind of bring everybody, not only within the community, but from outside of Los Angeles as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, um, I made a lot of friends, and also my father brought a lot of friends over from Japan to come over here, study English, and also to teach karate and kind of spread Kyokushin over here in Los Angeles. So one of the notable people, maybe Naito Tyson, also fought in the Montreal tournament, and also one more, the women's kata champion during that time, four-time kata champion, and also world champion kumite, Sensei Mirio Ito,
Mm-hmm.
also came from Japan and decided to study English here, end up staying over here. Now she's one of the key instructors of Kyokushin Los Angeles. But
Wow.
her influence also played a big role in kind of spreading Kyokushin over here as well. We've been having a lot more women competing and also practicing Kyokushin more than ever, right? When I was like first starting, it was majority of it was like men, but we also have a good amount of female training in Kyokushin as well now. So
Mhm. That's amazing, man. No, that's crazy. So, obviously you transitioned to MMA now. So, this is after 2013. And so you meet a few people. So first of all, David Moon, who was training me before Mo, and also Mike Finch, who told me to say, tell Shohei, I used to scare him and go, Shohei, to
oh,
scare him. So
Mike as well. I wasn't aware of that.
dude, you
I
want to
thought,
laugh? You want to laugh? So I do Instagram lives, but the day I did it with
huh?
Mike, my phone died. So ever since then, Mike
Oh,
is,
so you were on his podcast.
no, he was on
Like,
my
oh,
podcast.
he was on your podcast.
And
Okay.
my
Yeah.
phone died. So it's like an embarrassing moment that happens. Listen, it's not going to happen again. But yeah, Mike told me to say hi and said great things about you. And also David Moon, who before I met Mo, he was the one that trained me, but he was like, I don't know how to do Kyokushin training. So we're going to go with kickboxing training for you.
Oh, wow. It's such a small circle in this martial arts. Um, well, David is completely something completely different from Kyokushin, right? I actually went to go. fight over in India when I was for an MMA match.
Mhm.
Um, but the format was a little bit different. It was not just one fight. We ended up staying there for a whole month, and you were supposed to fight maybe every weekend or every other weekend. But that's when I met David Moon over there. He was representing coming from Canada, and I was coming from California to compete in the MMA scene over in India. And we're one of the very few Asian people there, so that alone we kind of got close. And um, I ended up getting injured. My shoulder ended up getting injured, so I wasn't competing anymore. So that's when we kind of relaxed a little bit and started hanging out outside the hotel and I mean, be buddies and everything. We went to go see a Jeep safari, trying to go see tigers before,
Okay.
but we ended up not seeing any tigers.
Oh,
And kind of like traveling all over India with a
nice.
group of friends and everything. So we have some very good memories and everything. Yep.
That's awesome. What a small world. Yeah. So David, like, I used to work with him, my first sales job. And, when I got into
Oh,
martial arts, like, because when I chose Taekwondo, people are like, why are you doing Taekwondo? You should do David. And David what spoke out and said, guys, any style, it doesn't matter. Be happy he's trying something because this is not an easy sport. And maybe if he's doing it, let's see you try to do it for a day. So David was very welcoming to it. And he's like, doesn't matter. He goes, I started with Taekwondo too. He goes, you'll find your way. Even if it's not for you, you'll find your discipline. And hey, found Kyokushin. So
there you go. I mean, anything that you find is something that whatever you do, you should enjoy it. Might as well just enjoy it. But it's good to see David still competing in MMA. I know he's still competing. Had
yeah,
a competition recently, so that's still good to see. We keep in touch here and there. I follow his Instagram and
same.
all that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah, he's an amazing individual, man. Like my late mom loved him, and like, cause my late mom always said, I really like David. She goes, I love Mo as well. She goes, Mo was my adopted son before she passed. She used to call Mo her adopted son. She's like, I really like David too. David was a very good like influence for you. How's he doing? So I'd always say like, David. My mom asks how you're doing, and she's like, oh, he's like, tell her I said I'm doing good. So yeah,
right.
man.
We were over in India. People, a lot of the people over there, right? They would mistake me and David all the time.
Yeah,
We're like the two only Asian people there, so I was like, "Hey, I think you're mistaking me for David," and vice versa. So I thought that was kind of funny, during that time. But
so
right.
that's amazing. So now obviously you're a trainer at UFC Huntington Beach. You're doing that other stuff. Karate what's what's the style name again?
Goki Kai,
Go
Goki Kai.
Kikai. Go
Yes,
Kikai. So you're doing Go Kikai because you go back and forth between Japan, but you also
no,
became a fall.
right. Still doing Kyokushin.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, not as much maybe because obviously like I mean not maybe not as much, but you still do it. You're still in there. Once you do Kyokushin, you're always Kyokushin.
Here and there. So far the Kyokushin. Apologize for interrupting.
Oh no worries, dude. No worries, dude. You're the guest. You're one of the goats. You could do whatever you want.
Appreciate that.
Anytime. But no, you became a father in about 2019, 2020. So tell me what it's like. How has that changed? How has life changed for you since you became a father of a son? And will he go into martial arts? That's the question.
Right. Of course, he's definitely going to be doing martial arts. One of the martial arts that I'm thinking about having him do is definitely Kyokushin.
Good.
I, yes, from a self-defense aspect of it, also the safety aspect of it as well. I think Kyokushin is really great for kids. First, they learn discipline, respect, and also you don't really have to worry about getting hit in the head too much as you're still developing, and everything like that. But I also feel like by doing something like difficult as Kyokushin and overcoming the obstacles, gonna really help form his character and the foundation that he needs to start. I mean, becoming an individual and becoming an adult. One of the things that I really think martial arts is really good for kids is it prevents bullying. I feel like, right? So you understand pain, and it kind of humbles you a little bit. You're not always going to be a big fish in a small pond. There's always going to be someone that's stronger than you and everything. So you're going to understand the meaning of a physical pain. So once you kind of understand that growing up as a kid, you probably wouldn't want to do it to anybody else, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So definitely Kyokushin. And I'm also gonna maybe show him some things that I do in MMA just for a self-defense aspect as well. Right? Maybe when he's about 5 or 6.
Yeah, let's wait a bit.
He barely turned 3 last week, so he's getting there right now, going to preschool and everything like that. So
Yeah,
slowly
I
but
saw you sometimes post them, and it's like the kids like, and it's like, oh, it's like I just want to grab his cheeks, just be like,
he's a 90th percentile within the size and everything for his age group. Yeah,
okay.
but like yeah, it's been also like Mike Finch. Yeah, I love Mike Finch. He's one of my coworkers at the UFC gym in Huntington Beach that I currently work at right now. But he recently kind of went to a different gym and became the fitness director there. So congrats to him and everything. He's doing great. But me and Mike very started off at during the same time when I first started at the working at the UFC gym in Huntington Beach back in 2019. So we kind of first started off together and kind of branched off and everything like that. So Mike would always kind of when I'm like coming from the back and be like, "Hey, Shohei," trying to spook me out a little bit, but he got me here and there. So we're very close and everything.
He's an awesome guy, man. I love his charisma. And so what's the future holding for you now, like basically with everything going on for the rest of 2024? Because we're back to normal finally, somewhat, but what is normal? Nothing's normal, nobody's normal. So what's the rest of 2024 gonna look like for you? We're already 3 months in, oh, too. It's like just flying.
Right. So I'm very excited. First, I'll go to Japan in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Not only to see my family, but also to see Soshi Iwasaki. Go visit him over in Japan. He's always the one coming over here, so I feel like I have to go over there and go visit him and meet some of the fighters that he's training over there. Um, uh, so we have one of the fighters that's competing over there in Gokikai. He mainly competes in kickboxing, but trying to transition to MMA as well. So as a striker trying to compete into MMA, this is something Soshi Osaki does really well.
Mhm.
He's also going to compete. One of the fighters over there is going to come to LA in April and actually compete in the bare knuckle fighting championship. They're going to
Ooh.
hold in April. So I'm very excited to go over there and train with them. Maybe like nothing too hard sparring or anything like that, but just to go over there and meet them. And when they come over here to compete in April, I'll probably go around and help them out a little bit too, right? And
Amazing.
I'm definitely gonna go see them compete. If it's
Nice.
bare knuckle fighting, I was like, oof, gotta go see that, right? Yep,
That's
for sure.
awesome, man. Well, Shohei, I really, really want to thank you for coming on to the Drew Experience. It's such a big honor to have you on. Is there anything you want to say to those who are going to watch, or anything, any comments you have about today's episode to help me? Because I really take this seriously, and I want to be like the Mike Goldberg of Kyokushin Karate, and maybe that Joe Rogan. Not maybe, I will be just through consistency.
Well, I really appreciate you for taking the time and putting me into your podcast, even throughout all these years, and to be a part of something that for the greater good that you're doing, not only in Kyokushin but for the whole martial arts community, and to be a part of it. I'm very honored. So thank you for having me in your podcast. Um, and one last thing, I know Kyokushin, especially Kyokushin, maybe in different martial arts too, it could be very political, and we end up being divided quite a bit. But all these political issues aside, we are one, right? So even Mo, I'm in IKO1, he's in a different organization. It doesn't matter. We're still like brothers. So it doesn't matter if you're from over there or over here. To me, we all love Kyokushin. We all love martial arts. And the whole thing about martial arts is kind of challenge yourself, but also bringing people together. And that's kind of the foundation from what I saw from Kyokushin in Los Angeles growing up is bringing everybody together and um, providing a positive thing for the community. And this is something that you're doing, so I really appreciate you for taking the time to have me on in your podcast.
Amazing. Well,
Looking
guys, make sure to follow Shohei. Shohei, where can people find you at? Because you got to plug in all your platforms, dude.
Right, right. I'm trying to do better on the social media aspect as well, but I have some Instagram. So how should we do this? Maybe I could give you like a link for it, and you could post it, or
Uh,
and you could follow me on.
Let me just say the name here because I have it here. I'm gonna try to pronounce it. You'll tell me if I say it right because I can't say anything right.
The Instagram part is gonna be Hey Shohei.
Oh, that's a nice ring. You know, it's catchy. So hey, Shohei, you follow this man, people. And you also have any other or just Instagram you're using right now?
Well, I do have Facebook for right now. It's mostly Instagram that
Okay.
I post my adventures. When I go to Japan, I'm going to be posting things, my daily work at the UFC gym, and some things from Kyokushin I post as well. So please follow me. It's going to be HeyShowhey. Hey show hey.
Amazing. Well, they people follow and show, hey man, I'm so happy I got to do this with you. You know, you're not just you're any friend of Mo and Chian Pierre's is my friend. And if you ever come to Canada again, you could stay at my place. Don't spend a cent at a hotel. I'll stay in my living room. You take my room. That's how it is in Kyokushin. You know how the hospitality code is. And I really hope I could come to LA one day because I do have family in Mission Viejo and La Jolla.
Oh, that's
So
really close. Yeah, for sure.
where
Mission Viejo, that's really close. I live in Huntington Beach right now, so.
Nice. So I'm gonna if I ever see my dad's family there. Also, shout out to Nima Safapur of Moments Management, who manages the likes of Gegard Mousasi, Costello Vance Dennis, because I'm gonna be seeing him too, and many other fighters, because Nima is one of my close friends. So I have a reason to come to California again, see you, and then man, like I really hope we can meet in person one day. And if you come to Canada, dude, you just message me and I'll make sure you're taken care of.
Same thing as well. Please let me know when you come to California, and we'll definitely keep in touch. Right.
Perfect. Everyone, if you love this conversation, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drew Experience, the voice of Kyokushin in your ears. We're growing. It's like a storm. It's like an It's like a snowball. We're accumulating, so we gotta keep it growing. So hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow Shohei. He is one of the goats for USA Kyokushin. And yes, so us.
Oops.